What's up guys, the new Wild Rift patch notes just came out and this update will be coming out to the live servers in a couple of hours. So without further ado, let's just go through all those changes together, and as always, I will be giving you my opinion and I will tell you how the meta will shift because of these balance changes. But first of all, we have of course a new champion being teased here. Rammus the Armadillo is gonna come out very soon, in fact on the 22nd of April. Fully confirmed now, so that is going to be in 10 days. That is super exciting. He's going to be a great jungler in my opinion. Of course, he has that little reworked ult now where he can jump and slam down on people. It seems really fun. Basically, for those of you who never played League of Legends on PC, this is a tank jungle that can go Baron lane in very, very rare cases, you know, a little bit of a troll pick, but it can work. And also, his most iconic ability is his little power ball, where he rolls himself up into a ball, you know, and just gets faster and faster the longer he travels, okay? And you can just steer that freely. It is super cool. It should be a really, really fun release. One of the original League of Legends champions, actually. Then we also have new skins, and this is the Wild Rift original skin line that is coming out, that won't be coming to PC. So you can already see this looks so good. We will also get an event with it. Stargazer is what the skin line is called. This is Camille. We will also get Soraka, Twisted Fate. We will get Molten Rammus, and we will get Sweeper Rammus. So 2 Rammus skins as well. That is gonna be so sick. Make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell if you don't want to miss gameplays of these new skins. We'll also get some emojis, a bauble. This is a very good emoji here, that little penguin. Well, we're getting some nice recall effects. This one looks very sick. This one looks also clean. New events, as I said, to celebrate the launch of the debut, first to Wild Rift skin line, as I said, the first Wild Rift original skin line. An in-game event introduces you to the world of the Stargazers, Camille, Twisted Fate, and Soraka. Complete missions to unlock blue modes and accessories throughout the event, which runs until the end of April. Very nice. This is gonna be the new big event. It will begin on the 15th of April, so already in 3 days. That's very nice. Okay, so they're adding some more 120 FPS phones, for example, the OnePlus 9 line, Google Pixel 5, Asus ROG Phone 2, and Razer Phone 2. Unfortunately, my OnePlus 8 Pro is still not on that list. But again, guys, I'm not sure if you actually want to use that 120 FPS feature. It will fry your phone, it will fry your hands. It is not worth. Honestly, 60 FPS is already enough, unless you're playing FPS game, you know, but we're playing MOBAs. That is completely fine. Now, finally, the balance changes. Now, quick little spoiler. They will leave a lot to be desired, okay? We're looking at Evelynn, okay? She's not going to be on this list, so that's already something to look forward to. But let's go through it alphabetically as always. Alistar, first little nerf here. That is very good. I think Alistar really needs a nerf, and this is a good way to hit him because you probably noticed whenever you play against Alistar, he deals unreasonable amounts of damage for that he is one of the tankiest units in the game. And that's exactly what they're hitting here. Headbutt damage going down by 5, scaling up to 20 at the max rank, okay? So that is a pretty good nerf. Also, the turret damage ratio of that ability, if you guys don't know, you can use the headbutt onto turrets. That is going down from 150%, so it did more than to normal units, to only 75%. So it will deal way less damage now, half the damage from before the patch to towers, which is very nice. It's gonna make Alistar not push towers as fast with his marksman, which was sometimes ridiculous. Definitely good nerf. Is it gonna be enough? No. I think Alistar is still gonna be one of the best supports moving on, but Riot likes to nerf their champions ever so slightly for a couple patches in a row until they're balanced instead of completely over nerfing. So this is one of those good steps. It is not the first step. Alistar was already nerfed in the past, but it is a good next step. Don't worry if you're an Alistar abuser or an Alistar main, you can still play him to great success. Moving on to Blitzcrank. He is getting a little bit of a buff, very well deserved. I think he kind of fell out of the spotlight. Also, they released a new skin, guys. You already know, they're gonna make you buy it. So, of course, they're gonna buff the big boy here, and it is gonna be a nice little 20 damage buff per level on the rocket grab, which is not to be underestimated, it's very nice. And also, the overdrive self slow duration is going from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. So you'll be able to chase and get away better now with that second ability. Now, the thing about this is, I don't think he's gonna be, this is not a huge buff, but I think he was already very underrated, especially with an early proto belt boot enchant. It is just a it is a very potent champion, very underrated. You can engage super well, you can catch out people super well, and especially in solo queue, someone with a hook is always very strong if you can hit that hook. So I think this is a nice little buff. But he was already pretty good. Now he is even better, okay, even gooder. Definitely, if you like playing Blitzcrank, give him another try. He's gonna have some more, especially early game damage on that rocket grab. Gonna feel nice. Moving on to Corki, this man needs a colossal nerf. Tiny man needs a titanic nerf, you know, so to speak. And yeah, he's not getting that, but he's getting, again, a nice little first step. The package arrival rate, the package cooldown is going to go up from 100 seconds to 150 seconds. As you guys know, it spawns at 4 minutes, and then whenever you take it, whenever you actually expand it, you use the empowered Valkyrie, then it will go on that cooldown, and that's going to go up by 50%, okay? 150 seconds, that is a lot. Okay, that is 2.5 minutes, quick maths right there. I know, you're proud of me, that's crazy. But I can do basic computation like that, wow. Anyway, 150 seconds, that's a very nice first step. However, he will still pretty much have it for most of the fights, and he will still... The issue is his damage. He needs a little bit of a nerf to his damage on his auto attack late game, on his ultimate, on all of that stuff, and I'm sure eventually will come. But for now, Corki is still gonna remain in his S tier position. Moving on to Diana. Now, Diana is a very interesting one. I think she's really strong. I think she's really thick too, but no one cares about that. But she's really strong, right? She is borderline broken. And I talk to challenger players, I talk to Vex, and he agrees. He also thinks that he is, especially for solo queue, a super premier pick in the mid lane. Now, she is getting one of the biggest buffs I have ever seen in any video game to this date. Check it out, okay? She's gonna be the new Katarina. Oh, by the way, Katarina also not getting nerfed. Hey, Riot, you should do this, okay? You little losers. Yeah, look at this buff, man. It is outrageous. Base health going up by 40, very nice, makes her a little bit more tanky. And now the passive of her third ability is removed. Bonus attack speed is removed, and it is instead moved to the Moon Silver Blade, to her passive. It has a new effect now. After casting a spell, any spell, Diana gains 30 to 120 attack speed percentage based on level for the next 3 attacks. So late game, you're looking at a Diana with 120% bonus attack speed for 3 attacks after each ability. Q, 3 auto attacks. W, 3 auto attacks. E, 3 auto attacks. Hey, you know the drill. This is gonna be pretty crazy with Nashor's Tooth, with Lichbane. It's gonna be really sick with her passive as well. Her passive does way too much damage. Well, with this in context, right? Before that, it's fine. It's a strong passive. But now it is ridiculous. Moving on to Crescent Strike. You would think, I thought they would rework her a little bit. You know, I was a fan of that. Make her a little bit more of a mage fighter instead of a mage burst assassin. So take away some of her burst damage in exchange. Hell no, bro. They're gonna knock down her cooldowns and they're gonna buff her ultimate damage as well. Riot is crazy. Crescent Strike, first ability, cooldown, going down by 1 second per level, which is big because keep in mind that is how you apply that Moonlight for the third ability to reset. So that also means more third abilities, okay? Second ability, also going down by a cooldown, and this is just bizarre. This just makes me shake my head. From 14 seconds to, at last rank, 8.5 seconds. Now, that is unbelievable. This is literally turning her into god mode. Her shield is so strong. She's gonna have that so often now in late game team fights, because if you give her blue buff, if she builds some ability haste, which she does, you know, with items like Lichbane, yeah, with items like Nashor's Tooth, which gives 25 ability haste, which is by itself a little bit broken. This is gonna be crazy, okay? So definitely the winner of this patch already, without even taking into consideration the rest of the patch, is Diana. But we also have a Moonfall ultimate buff, okay? Minimum base damage going from 150 to 250 per, depending on rank, to 175. So 25 per rank, 25 buff pretty much on all ranks. Not too big of a deal, but a 5% AP buff, which again, not too big of a deal. But you will be most of the time just charging that fully, or try to anyway, and that's gonna be a 50 buff per rank onto the base damage, and also a 10% AP buff. Now, this is not the biggest buff in the world, but if you, the ultimate itself, but if you take a look at all of this garbage here, it is just way too much, man. This champion is gonna be god mode, especially this passive buff and this Pale Cascade buff, okay? This champion is gonna be god mode. I think she might take the place of Katarina as a first pick mage in solo queue in higher ranks, because Katarina is much harder to play. Diana is pretty brain dead in comparison. She's very easy to play, especially the way you operate her laning phase. You just push, you just shove. You never have to worry about any lane control, whereas champions like Fizz, champions like Katarina really have to have knowledge how to properly set up a freeze, to have favorable lane position, to not completely get blown out, okay? But Diana can just pop her shield, ignore any poke, auto attack the wave 3 times, which she can do now very quickly without expending her third ability, right? Without using that. And yeah, she pretty much one-shots the wave super quickly, and then she just roams. That is the most brain-dead gameplay you can wish out of a mid laner, and also mechanically not that intensive to operate in team fights. So, broken. This is the new canon. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy the new patch. Welcome to patch Wild Rift patch 2.2a. A. They call it 2.2a because it's straight out of the booty hole. A, but not the good kind of booty hole of our waifus. Moving on, I'm over exaggerating a little bit. I'm sure it won't be as terrible as canon, but big winner this patch, okay? Definitely look forward to the Diana gameplays that will be popping from every single YouTuber and their mom on YouTube in a couple of hours. Moving on to Dr.Mundo. He is receiving a well-deserved little nerf. He was a little bit too strong with the new tank items, with that new Sunfire Aegis. Just a little bit too, too tanky. Not really too tanky, but a little bit too much damage. Too much everything. They're going to be nerfing the attack damage by 6, which is going to nerf his jungle clear, which is where he's mostly played. They're also going to be nerfing his base health, which I don't really agree with, but it is 40 health less, and also armor by 5, which again doesn't seem like too much, but along with the health nerf, along with the attack damage nerf, it is a lot of nerfs to his level 1 form. He's going to be a little bit of a beta cuck now. It is what it is. But the big one is also this one. Duration of masochism of his third ability is going down from 5 seconds to 3 seconds at level 1 to 4.5 seconds at max rank. Now at max rank it won't really make too much of a difference because the cooldown is very low on this ability, but especially for the first jungle clear, he will be in a little bit more of a pinch now. That being said, I still think he's gonna have a very decent position in the meta. Yeah, I don't see Mundo much in solo queue anyway. He's not like a super broken pick. I don't think he needed a nerf this large, but he is like a hidden strong champ, hidden broken, what people like a secret pick that you can really do well on, and that is going to be toned down now. Still, definitely a decent pick if you're a Mundo main. Moving on to Galio. Now, this man deserved a fat nerf, however, only in the context of Katarina also getting nerfed, because this is the premier counter to Katarina. This is the premier pick in general in the mid lane right now, and my man is getting a pretty hefty nerf, which in the context of Katarina not getting nerfed is again gonna just skew the mid lane to completely be Katarina heaven. Again, luckily Diana getting buffed, so I think she's gonna take that place. But still, Galio would have been a good nerf to both of those, and he definitely deserved that nerf though. Don't worry, and I think he's still gonna be very strong. Let's check out the nerf. 40 base health, nerfed, very nice. He's a little bit too chunky in the early game. The passive also getting a big hit in general to the cooldown. Gonna be 1 second more in the late game, early game still the same. And the base damage also early game still the same, but late game going down a notch. That is very good. I think the passive was one of his best assets. It was a little bit too strong, a little bit too low of a cooldown. So that is pretty good. Moving on to Winds of War, his first ability. Now this is something that did a little bit too much damage, and it's still gonna deal a lot of damage. Keep in mind, this percentage HP damage nerf that they're doing here is only the lingering damage. You know, the tornado that stays. That is getting nerfed by 5%, by 0.5% for the AP ratio. So while that is a pretty good nerf, the impact is still gonna half shot you. It's still gonna do half of your health, okay, if you get fed as an AP Galio. So I'm glad they're still preserving the AP Galio damage. I still think it's gonna be a little bit too strong though. Moving on though, he's still getting some more nerfs. Let's check it out. We have the second ability also getting nerfed. The cooldown is going up by a lot, 3 seconds per rank. That is good, because I think such a huge AoE taunt is a very powerful ability and should have a little bit more of a cooldown attached to it. Also, the AP ratio is getting nerfed as well, which is very good, because the AP ratio, this is a CC ability. I was always wondering, why does it deal this much damage? Well, it's gonna get nerfed. Still gonna be incredibly strong, because again, it's a CC ability. I think we might see more tanky Galios now instead of full AP, which is what we've been seeing a lot on this previous patch. And we also have a third ability nerf in the range. Now, guys, if you play PC, you know this is ridiculous on mobile. It's like twice the range. It is ridiculous. So they're toning that down a little bit, but only a little bit, by 0.75 range units, which means it's still going to be huge. Still going to be great. Galio is still going to be great pick. I'm still going to play him a lot. He's still going to be super fun and still going to be very, very potent with that full AP build. Yeah, just in general, still going to be worthy of a first pick even, I would say. And I hope he's going to be able to combat Katarina still, and I hope he's going to be able to combat that new Diana. So we have some more variety in the mid lane still. Moving on to Leona. She is getting a little bit of a buff. We don't really see her often. I don't think she's too weak, but yeah, we just don't. I feel like maybe people just don't like playing her or don't want to learn her because her ult has to be hit and it's not that easy always. And if you miss it, you're honestly just griefing. So maybe that's the issue. But let's check out this buff. We have Shield of Daybreak, the first ability. Cooldown going down from 6 to 5 seconds. At all ranks, that is a very nice start. Keep in mind, whenever you nerf or buff the cooldown of a CC ability, it's, you know, you stun the enemy for 1 second, I believe, with that ability. So now, instead of being not stunned for 5 seconds, you're not stunned for 4 seconds, which is, you know, if you put it in that perspective, it can be an interesting thought process and makes cooldown buffs on abilities like that even better than on damaging abilities. We have also a buff to her Zenith Blade, and this is a little bit ridiculous, okay? This seems very insane to me. This is her dash, okay? Her little dashing ability, which also has a mini stun attached to it. It is going down at the maximum rank, okay? So at level 1, it's gonna go down from 13 to 12 seconds of cooldown. But at the max rank, it's from 10 to 6 seconds, bruv. My man's gonna be, my girl, excuse me, Leona, you're a beautiful girl. Oh, don't worry. It's 6 seconds. Slap some cooldown reduction onto that, and we're looking probably at around 4.5 seconds of cooldown. So she will be zapping around. Hey, maybe they should release a Pikachu skin for Leona or something, because that's what she's gonna feel like. You know, she's gonna be zapping around with that. That's gonna be really fun to play, but might be a little bit too strong. We'll see. Definitely still a very nice and interesting buff. Okay, I do like that one. Try out Leona if you liked her or didn't feel like she was strong enough. Definitely gonna be worth playing now on the new patch. Pantheon is getting another buff. He got that mini rework. I didn't even get to test it, but he's gonna get a buff. And I think it's gonna be great. I think it's a great buff because they're buffing his AD ratios and his late game damage, his base AD scaling, and all of that stuff. It's really cool. I hope he will be a little bit more of a powerhouse late game, or at least be able to do something late game, because that is of course where he's struggling right now. We have an attack damage buff early game already from 58 to 64, okay? So that is just 6 flat attack damage buffed on top of his already early game strength. That's also going to help his early game clear. I do think he's probably his best position in Wild Rift right now after seeing him and playing him. I think, and after talking to some challengers, I think that it is in the jungle. So yeah, we'll see how this will perform here. 6 AD buff is always nice for the first jungle clear, but also we have an attack damage per level buff by almost 1 more per level that he will be getting. So that is awesome for his late game. So we're looking at approximately a 21 attack damage flat buff for a late game Pantheon with these 2 changes combined. And then we also have a first ability Comet Spear buff to pretty much all the damage. Base damage is going up by 15 at level 1, scaling all the way to the same damage at the maximum level. So for each rank it's going to be a little bit less of a buff, but especially early game they're giving him even more strength where he's already strong. But they're also giving him a better AD ratio from 100 to 110%. This is very nice. And also the critical strike bonus AD ratio is also going up by 15%. So all in all, super nice. Well, this is out of a result out of this, right? It's the same scaling, but all in all, super nice. I hope he will be able to perform a little bit better late game, but all in all, he's going to be much stronger now, especially again, that first jungle clear is going to be super fast now, or at least compared to before the patch, because he really struggles currently at that first jungle clear. I do think Pantheon will shine a lot brighter on the new patch, and I will be testing him out. So again, make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Moving on to Shyvana. She's getting a little bit of a nerf. They're saying she's a little bit too strong. And again, if you just look at Shyvana isolated, yeah, she's a very strong unit. But if you look at her compared to Evelynn, or even Lee Sin, it's not even close. These champions are much stronger, especially Evelynn is so incredibly strong, and she's not getting nerfed. So that is a little bit of an issue. Shyvana, as I said, getting a little bit of a nerf here. 40 base health there. They really love nerfing the base health of champions by 40 at level 1. Then we also have a Twin Bite first ability cooldown going up by 1 second at each rank. That's going to hurt her jungle clear, especially early on. We also have a Flame Breath nerf, maximum on-hit HP damage going down by 0.5%, which again is just going to nerf her clear speed, her dragon potential, also her damage. Yeah, just all around a nerf, but not too big. All these 3 things that are getting nerfed are getting small nerfs, so I think she's still going to be very potent. So don't worry if you are a Shyvana player. Moving on to Tristana. Now she is very, very weak compared to most other marksmen, and I do think this is going to be a great step into the right direction. It might make her actually very strong now. Let's check it out. Attack damage, similar to what Pantheon received, also 1 attack damage per level more. So that is 15 at maximum level almost. Of course, she has it's a little bit less. It's 0.95 per level instead of 1. But yeah, this is very good because she really she just lacked some. She didn't really lack late game damage, but she lacked some mid game damage even. You know, her early game is supposed to be weak. That's okay, but her mid game should be a little bit stronger than it is currently. That's gonna help her, and it's further enable her to carry even harder late game, which she honestly deserves if she gets through that rough early game laning phase, which is really just absolute clowny. You know, it is so weak that she really deserves some, you know, some power if she gets to the late game stage. And she's also getting that in her third ability as well. The cooldown is going down from 16 at all ranks to 16, scaling down to 13 at maximum rank, and that's going to be the big one. That's going to be the big buff, because you will be able to get off 2 of these charges in team fights now probably, along with some ability haste that you will be getting from just random items and from especially from the blue buff if you're able to get it. So that's going to be nice, because of course that also means one more jump. So yeah, pretty good buff. I think she will definitely be more playable than she was. She was already playable. I keep saying that every single patch. I think the marksman balance is pretty close right now. They can all perform really well. Even something that you don't see often, like an Ashe, can perform really well against something that is really OP, I would say right now, like an Ezreal. I think that they're pretty close, okay? So I think Tristana is going to move a little bit further up to be close to the rest of the ones. Still not the best one though. Don't worry, that is still going to be Draven, Kai'Sa, Ezreal. Moving on to Vi. She's getting a nerf. I think that's well deserved. Especially in esports, we see a lot of Vi. And it is a small nerf to her base armor, going down by 5. Again, they love these base armor nerfs by 5. She's going to be much squishier now. Again, the thing about Vi is she's a good Lee Sin counter, and especially in higher elos, you see a lot of very good Lee Sin players that take over the game, along with very good Evelynn players that take over the game. These are the two premier junglers that should be getting nerfs, but we see all the other junglers getting nerfs. So that's a little bit cringe, right? It is what it is. But yeah, the big one here is her ultimate nerf, which is going to be 10 seconds longer cooldown per rank. It's still going to be a 55-second cooldown at maximum rank, so that's still going to have her spam that ultimate in the late game pretty frequently. But in the early game, especially now, 95 seconds cooldown on level 5 ult. That is going to be big, okay? You're going to have to think, when am I going to use it? You know, you really have to make it count now. You can't just waste it. You really need to get a kill with it. And yeah, it's honestly good though. With that being said, that is already it for the champion changes. We're already moving to the item changes. Again, I cannot stress enough how cringe it is that Katarina isn't getting nerfed and that Evelynn isn't getting nerfed. And yeah, these two are really the big ones that, you know, I feel like Ezreal is also a little bit too strong. Kai'Sa is still, you know, it is what it is. But the changes that we got were pretty good so far. Let's check out these item changes. Of course, with the last patch introducing a lot of new ones, we'll see if any of them are getting hit. But first of all, you can already see Infinity Orb getting cocked. Okay, 300 gold more expensive. I think that's too much. I think this Infinity Orb is a very strong item, but at the end of the day, it gives you a very low amount of AP. I believe it's only 60. So you really need to make that conscious choice. Is it worth when you can get other items that give much more AP, or when you get it? I mean, yeah, I know Infinity Orb is a very broken item. I'm not going to argue that. I'm a mage player. I know I get hit a lot by this nerf, so I know I'm going to complain a little bit. I know what you're thinking, and you're right. This item hits me, okay? I'm a sad little boy. But listen, 300 is too much, because 300 is the same as Mortal Reminder. Mortal Reminder got nerfed by 300 gold. And is Infinity Orb as strong as Mortal Reminder? No. Mortal Reminder is one of the best items in the game before that nerf. Is Infinity Orb one of the best in the game? No, I would not say so. I don't think it's one of the best in the game, but Mortal Reminder might have been the best one. So 300 was so much, you know, to nerf something for. And Infinity Orb 300 is, I don't know, man. 300 gold is such a large step. I feel like they could have done 150 or 200 first, but 300 is huge, man. They're not compensating either with even like 10 AP more or something like that, or even 5. They're not doing any of that. So I feel like it's still going to be built on a lot of these champions, because critting with your abilities is broken. But again, it's going to be way less picked or way later into the game and stuff like that. Yeah, that is, funnily enough, a very big Katarina nerf, because a lot of other mages can do without this item, but Katarina can't. She wants to crit you when you're low, so she can finish you off to proc her passive and reset her abilities. So that is actually a very nice little side effect of this nerf. So at least Katarina getting slapped a little bit. Moving on. That being said, I still think it's going to be a good item. Just you'll have to think when you buy it now. Moving on to Sunfire Aegis. The base damage is getting nerfed from 16 to 30 to 16 to 25. So late game, getting a little bit nerfed there. It's going to do a little bit less damage. Don't worry about the early game though, still going to be the same. And bonus damage HP ratio percent is going down from 1% to 0.8%. So that also getting nerfed. So all over, all across the board, the late game damage, the ratio, and the late game base damage is getting nerfed. I didn't really get to test this out too much because I don't really play too many tank champions, but I feel like it wasn't really abused by a lot of champions. I know Amumu is great with it. I know Mundo was great with it. But other than that, I know a lot of people were building it on Malphite. But if you think about it, does Malphite really want that? Is he gonna stick onto you for a prolonged time? Or is he gonna burst you with his ult? And then you're pretty much CC'd and his team is gonna finish you off. Like, it always depends. What you always have to put these things into context. Whereas Amumu is gonna chase you down with the tears. Mundo is gonna chase you down with auto attacks and that second ability. So you always have to think about where you build these items. And I feel like not a lot of champions were really just hard abusing it. I think this item has a huge downside, which is that it only gives you health, which again makes it very way less attractive for someone like a Malphite who wants to stack armor and stuff like that. So again, I feel like this item wasn't really problematic, but we'll see. I think it's still going to be fine. It's still going to be a good item for those champions that were already using it well. Moving on to a little bug fix. The Glorious Enchant was being displayed as 800 gold, but it only cost 500 gold. It was just a bug on the display. It didn't actually cost 800. You could buy it for 500. It was just a little bit of bug in the system that shows you in the UI. Moving on to the last change, which is a game system change, which is primarily targeted at esports. Again, turrets getting buffed, okay? Basically, this is a lot of text, but the gist of it is the turrets, instead of only being buffed in terms of armor and magic resistance, depending on how many enemies are nearby that turret, pushing it down, it was only for 3 minutes, for the first 3 minutes. Now it's going to be for 4 minutes because they want the laning phase to be longer. They want people in esports to group less often and focus more on laning. I don't think this actually changes that. This again is just something that combats lane swaps, which is good, you know, don't get me wrong, which is good, but at the end of the day, this might promote more grouping around invading the jungle, you know, because you're like, oh, the Camille or the Jax is gonna threaten to push the tower. Oh, he can't because they're too tanky now for 4 minutes instead of 3. So we might as well go for the respawned enemy red buff and try to invade it. And if he just stays and pushes down the tower, I don't really care because he can't get too much damage done. Also for the dragon and stuff like that. We'll see what this will do in the esports videos that I will be reviewing. Again, make sure to subscribe, ring the notification bell, you know the drill. And with that being said, we're already at the end of this patch. You can see the free-to-play champion rotation. As always, I will give you my finalized thoughts and a little bit of a summary, like I always do for those who just want to get the important, essential info. Yeah, alright, summary. Rammus, new champion getting released, gonna be a tank jungle, super fast, has a taunt, super cool gameplay, and yeah, he's gonna come out in 10 days, guys. New skins, the original skin line Stargazer that will only be in Wild Rift, not on PC League of Legends, is coming out. You can see Camille looking mighty thick, if I may say so myself. And we will also get a Soraka and Twisted Fate Stargazer skin and 2 Rammus skins as well. New emojis, as you can see on your screen, new Stargazer event where you will be able to earn blue motes, and it will come out in 3 days, April 15th. Champions getting changed. Alistar Nerf still strong. Blitzcrank Buff still pretty much the same, a little bit stronger. Corki Nerf to his package cooldown, still gonna deal ridiculous damage, still S tier in mid and marksman. Diana, huge buff, one of the biggest buffs I have ever seen, way too big. She is the winner of this patch. She is gonna be absolutely broken, might take the place of Katarina, which is by the way not getting nerfed, along with Evelynn also not getting nerfed. Dr.Mundo getting a little bit of a nerf, not too much though. If you're a Mundo main, don't worry. Galio getting a decent nerf, which he well deserved. He was very broken. I think he's still gonna be top tier. Leona getting a small buff, a lot of mobility. 6-second cooldown only on her dash, which is gonna be crazy. Gonna be pretty decent. Pantheon getting a nice early game and late game buff as well to his damage. So he's gonna be, might be a premier jungler on the new patch, or at least A tier, I would say. Shyvana getting a little bit of a nerf. Tristana, still gonna be good. Tristana getting a little bit of a buff, still gonna be bad, or at least not as good as the other marksman. Vi getting a nice little nerf, which she deserves in terms of her esports performance. Especially the early game. Cooldown on her ult will be, you will have to choose when to ult, okay? You need to make it count and get a kill with it. Infinity Orb, huge nerf, which is the only thing that will touch Katarina even slightly here in this patch, which again, might be a little bit too much, 300 gold. We'll see though. Sunfire, Aegis getting a little nerf for the late game. Won't really matter too much, wasn't really needed though. Glorious enchant, bug fix, and some bug fix in terms of the gold being wrongly displayed, how much it cost. And we have a turret buff for esports to make laning phases a little bit longer. They're gonna be, instead of being tanky early game in the first 3 minutes, they're gonna be tanky in the first 4 minutes now. So with that being said, we are pretty much done with this patch rundown. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think about this patch in the comments below. If you have any questions on specific champions, what you think, how they will behave, post them down in the comments below, and maybe I can reply to them, or some other people of the community can engage in some nice little discussions with you guys, and that will of course boost the YouTube algorithm of this video. So if you just want to leave an algorithmic comment to support the channel, you can do so as well. Make sure to leave a like, it also helps the algorithm, and subscribe, ring the notification bell for more content like this. With that being said, peace.